Hi everyone, welcome to our lesson 44, and my name is Professor Robert. In today's lesson, we'll study properties, properties of fractions. Okay, let's get right into it. Now, we will work out four examples that will show us the properties of fractions. Let's start with the first example, and that will be equality of fractions. So let's suppose you have two fractions, a over b, and you're told it's equal to another fraction, c over d. If a, b, c, and d are real numbers, and the denominators are not zero for obvious reasons. If the denominators are zero, then the fractions would become so big that we wouldn't know what their value is, and we normally refer them as infinity, you know. Uh, so if A is divided by B and you are told it's equal to C divided by D, it means the cross multiplication, the cross multiplication should be should all be equal. In other words, A multiplied by D, A multiplied by D, oops, A multiplied by D must equal to B must equal to B multiplied by C, B multiplied by C. That's the first property of a fraction, which shows equality of fractions. So if you have two fractions, A over B, and you're told it's equal to another fraction, C over D. Now, when you multiply the numerator of the first fraction with the denominator of the second fraction, that should be equal to the denominator of the first fraction multiplied by the numerator of the second fraction. But as long as all these numbers are real numbers and B and D are not equal to zero. Okay, let's look at the second expression that will show us a second property of fractions. And this one is referred to as fundamental property of fractions. That means if you have a fraction with the two elements in the numerator, and the denominator has got part of what you have at the top, and the two are certainly being multiplied together, this is the same as saying that this expression is equal to A over B. In other words, X can cancel the X and you get your final answer A over B. But of course, as long as A and B are real numbers and B is not zero, neither is X zero, of course. Then we have the third property, and that's multiplication. Multiplication and division. Now, multiplication is always the reverse of division, or division is always the reverse of multiplication. So, again, if we are given our fractions A over B and we are told to multiply it by C over D, this is equal to A multiplied by C, AC. divided by B multiplied by BD. So this is very important, for us to know that when you multiply fractions, the denominators can multiply out and the numerators can multiply out and the denominators can multiply out. But this is for multiplication. How about if we looked at division? A over B divided by C over D. Because multiplication is the reverse of division, what we do here is to get rid of this division sign by introducing the multiplication sign. And that is done by multiplying the first fraction multiplied by the reciprocal of the second fraction. In other words, we put the second fraction upside down, and this becomes D over C. And then we can multiply this out as A multiplied by D, which will be AD, divided by B multiplied by C, which is BC. So those two properties are very, very important, and you'll always find them handy as you get higher and higher into the world of mathematics. And then lastly, we've got the fourth property. And that one is the sum of two fractions, say A over B plus C over B. You realize here the denominator is the same. This one will be given as A plus C, A plus C. And because the denominators are the same, we just write it as B. And that gives us the answer. We'll look at several examples and we'll see how that works when you're dealing with actually real numbers. Now, addition is the reverse of subtraction and subtraction is the reverse of addition. So if we are given divided by B as first fraction and we are told minus C over B, then the answer to this will be A minus C over B, as we agreed earlier on. And that will be the answer. So that's subtraction, that's addition. And yep. So those are the four properties of fractions that you have to keep in mind when solving future algebraic equations. All right. If this lesson helped you, don't forget to like, share with anyone you think needs it, and subscribe for more algebra made simple. See you in the next lesson, and bye for now.